Hey review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morris, the review guy reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one I'm going to be covering the new Adrianne Lenker record entitled Songs. So we have a new record that was released alongside a companion record of instrumentals by Adrianne Lenker, the lead vocalist and lead guitarist of Big Thief. By far one of the most acclaimed and sought after folk bands that are currently at large. Someone that has not only a deep-seated appreciation for the genre, but just a general love for both the contemporary and the old school. I've not been a stranger to critiquing Big Thief and some of the things that I think they do improperly for the genre, and just my general discontent with some of their themes. Not so much their themes, so much as how they come off. With that being said, in the past there have been lead vocalists or lead guitarists or just people that were part of bands that came up with some amazing solo records, so without a doubt I was excited to check out Adrianne's brand new record. Her first since 2018's Abyss Kiss. So theoretically it isn't that big of a jump, especially considering that on Abyss Kiss one of the tracks showed up on a Big Thief record. These are all originals, and looking into the recording of it, you'll start to understand just how tumultuous the entire process was. This was recorded with no digital enhancement. I believe it was recorded on analog. There were so many stoppages in the production. There were so many stoppages in the recording process. Most of it was recorded either in nature or in a cabin. There are improv elements on this record. Some of the instrumentals come from a very raw place. Most of the vocals are extremely lo-fi, and just the general aesthetic as a whole plays much more in the confinements of lo-fi than anything else. To call this record stripped back, to call it bare bones, to call it the bare minimum, to call it minimalistic would be an understatement for just how understated it sounds. And I think that is why this is my favorite thing to come out of just the Big Thief canon as a whole. The way that Adrianne utilizes simplicity to not only have some cynical outlooks, some hopeful outlooks, and an extreme level of vulnerability that for some reason I have not felt on Big Thief up until this point, goes to show just how personal a solo record can be. With messaging that while it is easy to understand, there is something with how piercing and how sharp it is. She is on point here. I had always appreciated Adrianne as a vocalist, but I at the same time always felt as if she was sort of nondescript. But on some of my favorite standout tracks on this new record, such as Heavy Focus, Come, and Anything, it showcases that even when she's just doing these one-take, heartfelt renditions of these tracks, she is very standout. She does put a lot of soul and passion into her vocals that do crack and quake. A lot of times they are imperfect, but they're sweet. They're like a butterfly grazing your skin, especially with the way that this is mixed, if you can even call it, putting her at such the forefront as she just sort of swirls around you through these very simplistic acoustic guitar-led tracks. This track listing also has this sort of phenomenon of feeling like an antithesis of itself at times. What I mean by that is the stark contrast of tracks that feel more saccharine, that feel more sweet as a whole, contrasting with tracks that feel a little bit more darker in tone, even though there's not really much changing instrumentally. It's just the way it's being presented. Forwards, Beck, and Rebound is an example of that. The tone of the guitar is so much more grim than it appears a lot of times. Because for the most part, the color palette of the instrumentals are these very stripped back folk. They're pretty simplistic, but they get the job done. And that's how I feel mostly about the instrumentals. While they're on, they are very nice to the ears. I did listen to the instrumental album, and I wasn't that big of a fan of it, mostly because I just really think the vocals and the lyrics take the forefront here and are the main focal point that leads this record to sounding as good as it does. And the content that she packs in, some of these tracks reach a while and have a lot of lyrics that just go and go and go and go. Where she's pulling all of these ideas from, you can really tell it's coming from her soul. Not a Lot Just Forever is an example of that. It's just a 4-minute track, and once again, it is so scant in terms of the composition but the lyrics are what just take the whole performance up a level. It's like when she's given not much to work with, that's when she really shines. Big Thief has never had the most explosive instrumentals, but they certainly have had more going into them than this record, and they certainly had a budget and a production to touch it up. I honestly like this record more than anything that Big Thief has ever done. The emotional capability and vulnerability that Adrianne exhibits on this album is impressing me a lot. I would go so far as to say it's exhilarating emotionally, even if it's not thrilling in the sense of getting your blood pumping or getting you all excited. These tracks will just put you in a mood that feels like a melancholic daze. It's just like a hazy fog descending from mountains and just sweeping over your town. I'm loving how intimate this sounds, and even though I've been going back to this record a lot, surely some things blend together solely because of the recording process and the instrumentals, and because of the restraints that she was giving in the recording process. These tracks, despite being a part of a fairly short track listing, can at times feel like they just blur together a tad. But I'm loving the themes of cynicism. I'm loving the themes of just hardcore reminiscing. The remembrance on this record just hits. And as a folk lover as a whole, I really am digging this record and suggest it for someone that wants to hear just an intimate, very, very lo-fi, stripped back acoustic folk record by a vocalist that is very capable with some lyricism that is going to pierce you somewhere at some point. And I just really hope that if Adrianne comes through with more solo records in the future, that she comes through with this level of quality. I'm loving this. So much so that I'm going to be giving this album an 8 out of 10. And that is a wrap. Have you heard this new Adrianne Lenker record? Songs? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss this record with you. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.